Well, for more on the dollarization concerns in Nigeria in relation to the rewarding of athletes in dollars through Naira equivalent and its economic implications, I am now joined by Idika Kalu Umar, a chartered banker and a stockbroker. Thank you so much for being on the news tonight.
Thank you.
I mean, you have been following the arguments and conversations, but then I have to ask you, I mean, what's your own take on the government, decision so far? Naira equivalent, but it is pegged at the dollar in a country battling inflation, devaluation, and, all the whole gamut.
Okay, let's just start with a definition. What do we mean by dollarization of the economy? Here we mean where the dollar or any foreign currency plays a major role in transactions, particularly in the economic sectors of that country. And it comes in two forms, actually. You have unofficial dollarization, or what we call de facto dollarization, which means partial use of foreign currencies, in transactions in the domestic economy, all right? And you have countries that are using unofficial dollarization in their systems. Cambodia, you have Lebanon, you have Liberia, you have Haiti, you have Angola. You also have Nigeria, okay? Because there is high incidence of dollar use in high-level transactions, real estate, imports, savings. You see that dollar is used. Okay, the other one is, the other use of the dollar is when you have what we call the official or the de jure dollarization of the economy. Here you have full use. It's legal that the country adopts a foreign currency for its transactions. And of course, you have countries like Ecuador in year 2000. You have El Salvador in 2001. You have even Panama, that's 1904. And of course, Zimbabwe in 2009. They used the dollar, but eventually they reverted back to the Zimbabwean local currency, the Zimbabwean dollar. So it can be official, it can be unofficial. But Nigeria does not have official dollarization of the economy, but the de facto dollarization, that is the partial, is widespread. And you see it when in some places rent, hotel accommodation, school fees, and luxury goods. You see the pricing, you see that there's that demand for dollars. Okay, you also see where individuals use their domiciliary accounts or they get involved in FX transactions. That shows an economy that is getting dollarized. Yeah, but in this
instance where the government is pegging a dollar sum to the equivalent of the Naira for athletes, how do you categorize that? And what is are there any implications on the economy and the Naira?
Exactly. Number one, there is loss of monetary policy control. Okay? You are whittling the powers of the central bank to control inflation and to control interest rates because they don't have control over the supply of the dollar. That's one. And it also affects monetary policy tools like the monetary policy rate. Okay? It renders it ineffective. Also, you have exchange rate volatility, you understand, where demand for dollars puts pressure on the Naira. And also, that brings about loss of confidence in the domestic economy, so in the domestic currency. So you have the domestic currency depreciate in value, and you have what we call speculative attacks on the currency.
Just by the mention of it.
Exactly, because it's like you are having more regard for foreign currency than your own local currency. And of course, it encourages capital flight and reduction of investment because now people feel that they should convert their savings to dollar assets. All right? And then, of course, when you use those dollar assets, you can import things. When you send money out, it affects local capital.
In other words, the government could have just, announced Naira rewards for these athletes. So when you have the situation, I mean, do you think it might create a precedent where civil servants, doctors, hey, journalists, I have to speak for my constituency. Journalists and other sectors may start to benchmark their expectations in dollar terms, even though they get Naira.
Exactly, because this is a statement from the president.
Yeah.
Okay, and whatever the president says, has the force of law. Okay, so once those commitments were made in dollars, everybody knows where we are headed. Okay, and it means that dollar transactions I told you that it's unofficial, but it's widespread. That is using dollar transactions within the domestic economy. But it's something that the central bank needs to fight because it will not help macroeconomic indices. Yeah.
Okay, so one wonders if this was about prestige or parity to international norms, because there are those who make a case to say these were competitions outside of the country. International competitions and regional competitions. Is there any excuse, justification for what the government has done by the announcement?
Do you know that in some countries, the president will give flowers to athletes that have won laurels? Flowers. And for them, that's national pride. They don't. Have you heard the president of France or doling out dollars to players? You see, for us, we need to economize on the resources that we have and use it for productive purposes. There's nothing wrong in, giving something to the athletes. That's good. Yes, the sportswomen, that's good. But we are saying that kind of amount could do a lot of things generally. People were saying, okay, look at the stress, even army retirees are protesting, they have not gotten their pension. Police, retired policemen were also protesting for so these are people who have worked for over 35 years. So some of them are pressing for 5 million Naira. See, I want to say dollars now.
Yeah, you have also been dollarized, Professor.
So that's the problem.
Interesting. So in celebrating victory on the courts, from being excessive an amount to now dollarization concerns, Nigeria's leaders have definitely stirred a wider debate on currency, confidence, the reward culture in the country, and wider speculations. But we have to thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.
Idika Kalu Umar is a chartered banker and a stockbroker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.